Good evening. We're going to call our meeting to order. So in addition to this being a public information meeting, it's also, an official meeting of the Board of Directors for the Metro West RECC. So my name is Christy Williams. I'm the town manager in Westborough.
I'm Evan Broussard. I'm the town administrator in Grafton.
So this meeting is a hybrid meeting. So pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting will be conducted in person and via remote means in accordance with applicable law. This means the members of the public, as well as members of the public, may access this meeting in person or via virtual means. In-person attendance will be at the Forbes Municipal Building in Westborough. And it's possible that all members of the public body may attend remotely, with in-person attendance consisting of members of the public. This meeting may be accessed through the link that's provided on the agenda as a Zoom link. When required by law or allowed by the chair, persons wishing to provide public comment or otherwise participate in the meeting may do so by in-person attendance or by accessing the meeting remotely, as noted. So we do have some folks online. So if you are online, once we do the presentation, we'll invite questions, and folks online can raise their hand and we'll recognize them. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to start with some brief introductory slides. For those who don't know, this is the Metro West Regional Emergency Communications Center district. So this is a district made up of the towns of Grafton and Westborough, and most recently joined by Southborough with the execution of the most recent IMA. So we've been pursuing this for quite a while, regionalization of our dispatch centers. So regionalization, some of the positives about it is that it's a collaborative effort to approach emergency response between multiple municipalities, where we'll share costs, resources, and benefits related to emergency response. Massachusetts currently has 32 RECCs and 6 more currently pending, of which the Metro West RECC is one. And here's a map showing all of the RECCs in the state. So the history is we started looking at this in the town of Westborough. Chief Purcell, our fire chief, brought this forward as something that he wanted to pursue. So starting in August of 2022, we had completed a feasibility study with a grant. The feasibility study was completed through the Collins Center. Originally, we had several communities that were interested, including Grafton, Hopkinton, Hudson, Marlborough, Northborough, and Westborough, as well as Southborough. As we moved through the process, there were several towns who had opted to remove themselves from this planning. And so in February of 2023, the towns of Grafton, Southborough, and Westborough had executed an intermunicipal agreement to stand up the district. The Collins Center had issued an addendum for those 3 towns. Following that, the town of Southborough decided to withdraw from moving forward with the district, and so we moved forward in June of 23 with just Grafton and Westborough, and then we were awarded a grant in July of 2023, and that grant is in excess of $4.6 million to begin the project. So we moved through this process and we hired an OPM and also an architect who you'll hear from later this evening. Originally, we had wanted to locate the district or the rec center at 30 Otis Street, which is also known as the Hockabaca Pond Building, which is located in Westborough. Through a series of investigation, we determined that site was not where we wanted to move forward, and so we changed the location to 20 Phillips Street in Westborough, which is known as the Harvey Building. And that's the location that you'll hear more about this evening. And then last month, the town of Southborough decided to join us with the IMA. So the intermunicipal agreement can be found on our website. We do have a metrowestrecma.gov. So that will actually bring you to the town of Westborough website currently, but we do have a page that explains all of the history of this project, has all of the documents that I mentioned, and also has some of the plans that you'll see this evening. The district's governance is a board of directors, which is made up of the chief administrative officers of each community, so myself and Evan, as well as Mark Purple as the town administrator in the town of Southborough. We also have a finance advisory subcommittee, which is made up of the chief administrative officers and the finance officers, and then our operations committee, which is made up of all of our chiefs from all 3 communities who are all in the room this evening. This is just the Harvey building, so you'll see that more clearly in the designer's presentation. In terms of next steps, we are working right now to stand up the district, and so one of the things that we're working on is creating a job description and compensation schedule for an executive director. So we would like to move forward with hiring an executive director. That's something that we're working on. We also have to set up the district in terms of its own insurance. It's not a hosted RECC, it's its own entity, so essentially its own municipality, and so it will have all of its own insurance, legal services, things like that. So we're working as the board of directors to stand that up. We're also meeting every other week to work on the design, and so we'll work to finalize that design, and then we'll work with our owner's project manager to procure construction. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have that $4.6 million grant. We're also working with our OPM to apply for additional grant money to fund the remainder of the project. And with that, I will turn it over to the designer. So let me pull up your.
Good evening. My name is Ted Galante.
Good evening. My name is Paolo Carissimi.
So Paolo and I have been working on this project together with Angela and Tony from from Colliers and the chiefs to try and pull this together as a new RECC, Regional Emergency Communication Center. And so we're just going to take you through a few slides. Really the location map, just to point out where it is within the town, set in here, right adjacent to the fire department. The existing site plan. This is looking at the roof of the building, looking down. Phillip Street is at the bottom of the plan. We call that Plan South, and that is the existing site plan. Shown kind of abstractly, photographs of the building. It's a stately masonry building that's been around for a while. It's has very nice character to it. The inside of the building, for those who've not been in recently, is in fairly tough shape and needs a fair amount of renovation, but is certainly a serviceable building and has very good bones, we like to say. But the building, otherwise, interiors are outdated. This paneling might be coming back. It's in style these days. But it's not in great shape. So the attic, and then there's an attic space up on the top floor. So the proposed proposed site plan is not changing a lot. And obviously, Phillip Street is here. There's a parking access that's here now. There are parking spaces that are being proposed along the left side of the plan here. A number of handicapped access parking spaces, and then what's known as an accessible entrance. There'll be a new elevator over in this portion of the building, proposed new elevator at the portion of the building. There's some systems that are being put in place, building systems, a generator, so that if the power goes offline, someone can still dial 911 and the emergency communication center stays operational. There's some HVAC units that are going to be outside in the back of the building as well. And there's it's same color and shape as the existing roof, but there's a proposed roof adjustment, new roof portion actually, that would be over here, and I'll go into that in a second. There's an entrance at the front of the building which stays, and the front of the building stays largely as it is, right? There's really no change visually to the building. There's parking proposed on the right-hand side of the building as well, and some utilities there, a small transformer on that side. The basement floor plan, you want to take it from here for the floor plan? Sure.
So the basement floor plan is going to be used for part of it storage, as you can see in the upper right corner. Then there is the IT server room, which is an important, very important space for these kind of buildings here. Elevator machine room, of course. And then we have on the plan south of the plan, we have a gender-neutral locker room so that the dispatchers, when they come in, can go into this locker room, access their lockers, go to the restroom, get changed, do whatever they need to do, and then they come back upstairs and they start working. How do I go? Next one here. Yeah. Okay, yeah. On the first floor plan, so plan south of the building, you see the main entrance, the current entrance that brings up into a little vestibule. It's a secure vestibule, so whoever comes to the building needs to be buzzed in. Of course, being this is an emergency communication center, it has to be a secure building. So it's going to be buzzed in, and that vestibule is also we're looking also at some ballistic level, so that there is protection against any sort of like attack against the building, against the entrance. There is an admin office right on the left-hand side with the window that can transaction window that can overlook the entry vestibule directly. Then there is an the executive director office, another office that we'll just name it right now as a future management office. And then on the right-hand side there is a training room for 30 people. Between the training room and the admin, there is the entrance to the dispatch room, which can host up to 13 dispatchers workstation, with one workstation for the supervisor, which is the one in the lower corner there, and then on the side we have an office for supervisors and a break room which is connected to both the dispatch room and training room. Right below the dispatch room there is the stair. We're relocating. The stair currently is right at the entry vestibule and it goes up to the attic. We're trying to create a more like pleasant entrance into the building and relocate the stair to the back so that the dispatchers can easily go downstairs and access their locker room and washroom area, but also from the admin area. Whoever comes to the building can access, if needed, can access the attic floor. The new elevator is on the side. If we've seen in the new site plan, basically there is parking on the left-hand side with handicap accessible parking, so that they can leave the car and access directly the building to a small lobby. And go with the elevator, they access the raised first floor, and then through a vestibule, they can go into the admin area, or if they're dispatchers, of course, they can go to the dispatch area right away. The dispatch area has, as I said, is a workstation, the typical workstation for a dispatch room with a counter space. And then also the training room has some counter space, and a break room, which is an important space for this kind of building because the dispatchers are faced with some very stressful calls, so they need also like place where the rest after one of those calls. There's also the opportunity from that side to go out and maybe just for them get out the break room and take some fresh air. But those are all like kind of space that are very important in these kind of building. Too far. Just one. Okay. So moving up to the attic floor, we still see on the left-hand side, we see the elevator, which brings you to. We started initially. We didn't know if we wanted to go to the attic, but that this is the right time to do. We do the work, so we want the elevator to access all floor, basement, first floor, and attic. So out of the elevator, there is a corridor that brings into the area where all the mechanical components, systems of the building, most of the mechanical system of the building will be located, and then on the south part. Which is the part of the attic that currently has dormers, so daylight coming in. We can use that portion of the attic in the future for if there is any need for to expand for additional offices, additional station. We don't know, but just keeping that area as a future expansion area. In elevation, this is what the building looks like. The front is pretty much the same. We're not really doing anything to the front of the building except, of course, putting it in a better shape, make some adjustment to the facade, and wash the brick, repair some of the cracks, of course, replacing window and this kind of work, like restoration work to the building. But then on the side and in the back, you can start seeing you can get a glance of the new volume, the elevator volume, which is better seen from this side. So going around on the est elevation, you see how there is a little entrance with some glass. That's the entrance to the little vestibule elevator lobby. And then the volume directly above is the elevator shaft. We worked on a few design, but we thought that at the end of the day, like keeping the volume like in the same style of the building will be the best option in this case. I mean, this is a beautiful building, so we want to kind of like keep the history and continue the history of the building with the same material. So bricks shaft. There is like an inset, as you can see on top of the entry vestibule, that it's mimicking like the insets that the building has around each window. And then there is a hip roof on top of the elevator shaft. From the side, that the yellow triangle that you see there on top would be the cover for the corridor that brings you from the elevator volume into the attic space, basically, because the shape of the roof, of course, is such that we need an additional volume between the shaft and the roof itself to access that area over there. From the other side, it's basically from the west elevation, you don't see almost anything except a little bit of the hip roof coming up near the chimney. And then these are just the same model, but in a 3D view. So you see the front of the building, you see the elevator shaft with the vestibule entrance on the left-hand side. From here, this is the back of the building, and again, you get a better glance of that new elevator shaft with the insets in the brick on each side. And then from the other side, again, there is nothing really changing. Just see the roof of the elevator on the other side. Schedule-wise, we are working right now on schematic drawings, so schematic design, which we are planning to have by the end of the month, and then of course we'll have to. Our schematic design will go to our cost estimator, which will start looking at all the work that it's needed, and start to putting some number, which is one of the most important thing. We know that we have like some availability. We know we have one grant, and then the town is working towards another one. But of course, we want to get somebody. We want to get our cost estimator to tell us how much this work will cost, which would bring us to do some reasoning and to say if we want to scale down the work, if there is something that we can leave for the future. But it's all some kind of ideas that comes together when we start seeing some numbers from the cost estimator. So then we have, you see the green bar under there represent the design development phase, which will end about the end of February, around the end of February, and then we'll go into CD's phase, which is the red bar, so that we were planning to have drawings to issue for bid towards the end of April. That purple bar represents the bidding and negotiation period, so we will get bids in from the contractor, subcontractor first, and then general contractor. And then once we have all the bid, we can make decision for the contractor to be awarded, and we go straight, after awarding the contractor, we go into construction administration, which is like the phase where the work gets done. And the construction administration will bring us to about August 2026, which is like the final, after punch list, ribbon cutting and project closeout is all done, basically. Thank you.
So I just want to say, Paolo and I have been working together for almost 20 years. I grew up in an Italian Catholic family, and Paolo sounds like all the priests I grew up with when I was a kid. I love listening to him talk. A project like this is essential. I had everything turned out okay, but I had the unfortunate event of calling 911 last night. And while I was on the call, I was thinking I probably have designed this dispatcher's office. And he was very inquisitive, and we had a conversation about a person was struck by a car. They turned out fine. But I realized what that person is doing is a critical event. It's a critical life-saving event. They were stressed. I was stressed. We had to communicate. We did it well. We succeeded. Everything turned out fine. But whenever that happens in my life, it brings me back to how important these buildings are and how essential they are for our communities. And so I'll just close with that and ask if there are any questions. I don't know if you guys have other things, but if there are any questions, we're happy to answer. Sure.
Because,
We need to do
sorry,
the microphone.
yeah, just because it's on TV. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm Marguerite Landry, Select Board, Southborough. Would there be an upper limit for the number of towns that could be in the RECC based on the size of the dispatch area?
Thanks. Just have there. Hi, Patrick Purcell, Westborough Fire Chief. The answer is we anticipate we could accommodate 8 to 12 communities in this building. However, that's all subjective to which community it was. In theory, not that this is even part of the equation. If the city of Worcester wanted to come here, we'd probably be done. So it all is dependent on the size of the community. If it was three smaller communities, it'd probably be no issue at all, but it always depends on the size of the community that wants to take part in this project.
I'm John Bartolini Jr., 4 Wyeth Circle in Southborough. I'm a direct abutter to this property. I own the property at 23 Grove Street. And I have some questions. I think it's a great idea. I voted for this at town meeting in Southborough. But we're taking a former school that has been pretty quiet over the years. It's had the Boy Scouts, it's had the players, it's had a bunch of different things in there, but really nondescript. And it's kind of sitting there languishing. So this is a very good use for it. But it's going to a 24-hour-a-day use. And I'm concerned about the normal things that a residential person would be, and that's lighting and noise and people coming and going. I have people that are living in my building, and I'm gonna butt it to the fire station, and you know, Chief, there's never a peep out of them. They're very quiet and good neighbors. And I just like to see the same thing here. So, and maybe it's too early in the process, I don't know, but you know, where there was grass, there's going to be parking. So I'd like to know a little bit more about, you know, the lighting and the looms and the screening and things of that nature.
So I can't address the lighting, and the architect probably can. As far as the parking noise, so we have 30 parking places. There won't be 30 people working at a time. So the noise in this probably on the right side of the parking lot the parking would only probably be used over there if there was a training class during the day. There wouldn't be training classes at nighttime. Relative to the noise, I don't see that being much louder than it is now, ever. I mean, it's going to be a hardened building with the operations focus on the inside. The only noise probably on the outside would be similar to the fire station or any other municipal building, would be the one time per week for an hour where the generator runs on test mode, and they have located that near the HVAC system abutting the YWCA building over there, and we're doing decibel readings off of both to make sure that the sound, which is constant from the Y, is only for an hour at the same level at the regional dispatch center. So we believe today that would be a minimal impact, but other than that, there will be shift change. So whatever the volume of dispatchers is coming in and leaving at probably whatever time they decide to affect the shift change, that would happen, similar to the fire station. And I think that we're generally respectful of that to our neighbors, and we've had zero complaints since we've been there since 2014, and that's our anticipated goal today.
The lighting for the parking lot would be somewhat of concern.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there going to be a site plan engineer, or is it just going to be the architect?
No. Your question is appropriate and timely. The next phase, this is schematic design where we start to locate things, get all the parts and pieces, make sure we meet the department's requirements, everyone's requirements, and then we start to layer in lighting, all the other pieces, right? Stormwater, all of that stuff. And that's in design development. So that's, Paula was saying that we're finishing schematic design, we're going to move to design development. Lighting in general, we would be very discreet lighting, low bollard lighting. We want it to be what's known as dark sky compliant. There's a requirement for that anyway. We would keep the lighting low. The places where we would need lighting that's higher is at the main entrance and at the elevator entrance, and probably one on the side where there's the dispatch exit on the opposite side. So just to go back to it, actually right there. So there'll be some kind of light here so that there can be safe egress out of the building. Not bright, just enough so they can see the steps, walking down the steps. Light here so there's safe egress out of the building. And the opposite side of the elevator here, so there's safe egress if someone's coming out of the elevator. Otherwise, bollard lights, low, discrete lighting. We are not making this Stalag 13 and lighting the whole thing up. Thank you. Any questions online?
I don't see any questions online. If you're online and you have questions, just use the raise hand feature. Other questions? No?
Well, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think this will be the first of several meetings, and there might be more focused meetings in Grafton and Southborough as well. So, but thanks everybody for coming. We'll adjourn.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll send that along, but we're also going to, the question was, is there possible to get a copy of the presentation? So we'll send it along to Southborough and Grafton, but we'll also post it online on that website. Yep.